Good evening. This is The Customer is Always Right, a digital presentation on the Duke Energy Charlotte Tree Canopy Crisis. As an attempt to diminish the impact of surrounding trees on their power lines, Duke Energy hired a Minnesota-based manufacturing company called Rainbow Tree Care to inject the surrounding trees in the Myers Park, Sedgefield, Dilworth, and Plaza Midwood neighborhoods with a compound called Combistat. The intention of this compound was to stunt the growth of the roots and surrounding limbs from those trees to again mitigate the impact on the power lines. There are a couple of problems with this situation that quickly escalated it into a communication crisis. Number one, Duke Energy gave no prior notice to its customers that they would have anyone on their behalf entering their private property, nor did they let them know the action course that they were taking once they did come onto their property. Number two, the trees themselves are seen as a historic staple of the communities. They've been around for hundreds of years and have added to the financial and aesthetic appeal of each of those neighborhoods. Homes' values have increased and it has become a part of the culture that those people expect. Number three, the contractors that Duke hired were not wearing any identification that let the customers know that they were acting on behalf of Duke Energy. So they did not know if they were a credible source for the information that they were providing, nor did they have the sense of accountability of who to call in case of an emergency, since they did not know that they were working for Duke. Also, there were unclear expectations as to the There were unclear expectations as to the results of using a chemical such as Combistat on their local trees. Duke Energy and the manufacturer stood behind a statement that let customers know after the fact that the compound was not harmful and in fact helped the trees grow stronger and was healthier for them. Once customers became angry that the contractors were on their property without their permission and injecting their trees, they actually led on that the compound did have negative side effects. Many contractors actually suggested that customers should take precaution in keeping dogs, cats, and other small pets as well as children away from the injection site to lessen the chance of any negative side effects that they might experience. My analysis using Berger's theories focuses on the reality of these residents. He would say it's permeated by both social relationships and material objects. Now, the social relationships in question would be between Duke and its customers in the Myers Park, Sedgefield, Dilworth, and Plaza Midwood areas. The material objects, of course, would be those historical trees which reside in those neighborhoods discussed earlier. I believe the residents took upon themselves to debunk the situation with Duke. More so to me, they unmasked the situation to see through the facades of the social structures set in place. On the surface, it seems that Duke took on the narrative that they're doing what is best for their customers and their company in the long run. Stunting the limb growth to diminish their ability to mess with the power lines, in their minds, would enhance the safety, efficiency, and success of the company as a whole. Underneath the surface, it is evident that they were trying to hide their actions from their customers because of the uproar that it would undoubtedly cause. Charlotte has one of the thickest urban forests in the country, increasing the property value and reducing the energy costs of the homeowners in these areas. The Charlotte Observer reported on this as well as the uproar from the customers. It is well known that the residents of Myers Park, Dilworth, and these other upstanding communities pride themselves on the canopy that resides with them. It increases the financial status of the neighborhood, the aesthetic appeal of the neighborhood, and it has become to be a historical fact of these areas. I believe that the residents began to break down what Duke did, and that's where the tension relies.
When thinking of strategies to take in the future, if we ever experience another or similar situation like this, there are several things that come to mind. First, transparency and accountability are two major components of crisis communication. Our spokeswoman, Paige Lane, acknowledged that Duke provided incomplete literature and did not have contractors wearing badges that identified them as Duke employees. We have to remember that as a company, we are obligated on a moral and ethical practice to be honest and open with the customers that we serve. We need to let them know our plans and what we're going to do, especially if it has a direct impact on them. Secondly, staying ahead of a problem will serve you well in a crisis. We came out of this situation with a negative perception from the public because we got behind the issue. We weren't proactive in our thinking. We should have sat down, thought of our narrative. What is it that we want the people to take from this experience? What is it that we want to have done? And weigh ourselves in the situation. What do we need to do as a company to make sure that this has a positive outcome? Thirdly, don't habitualize bad habits. For example, not informing our customers, not preparing our contractors, taking action without assessing public impact and repercussions. Berger says, habits are knowledge that new generations learn through communication. Our habits become our identity, and it can negatively impact the way future customers view our company. We want to make sure that we aren't sending the message that we will continually put our customers in harm's way or at an inconvenience based off of our decisions. You want to come across as considerate, compassionate, and respectful for the needs and preferences of the customers that you're serving. I'm not saying that every company decision has to be happy and you're always going to have the opposition at your face, but you need to make sure that you're taking everything into consideration and not to continue to make poor decisions without changing our behaviors, because people will seem to associate that with our identity as a company.
In conclusion, I think it is so important to remember that crisis communication is at the core of public relations, according to Berger. How we respond to situations like this are going to impact either positively or negatively the relationship that we have with our customers, the media, and the overwhelming. Here are a couple of things to remember as a wrap-up for this presentation. Effective communication relies on your ability to provide the right narrative to your customers. Take time, plan out your message. Really think about what is it that you want the customers to take away from the experience that you both are about to share with one another. The customer's reality is constructed with the coloring of their own interpretation of their experiences. So you really need to sit down and think from their perspective. Ask the questions that they're going to ask you. Make sure that you have the answers ready, because their interpretation is the one that matters. You should always make your business decisions with the customer in mind. At the end of the day, these are the people that you'll be working with hand in hand on a daily basis. So you need to make sure that they are on board with the decisions you're making and have a strong sense of credibility with you. It's better to be open and honest than to have to say you're sorry later. Customers truly do appreciate it when businesses are open and forthcoming with information in a proactive stance rather than being reactive to a mistake that they have made because they did not include them in the decision-making process, or they weren't open and honest about it. So if we take these steps and move forward, I'm sure that we can handle this situation and others like it with a much better attitude, response, and hopefully outlook with our customers. Thank you very much.